Thank you very much, Jakob. It was a very timely exercise to relax before my presentation, and maybe for the others as well. I'm going to try to be concise, but I can't guarantee it because I have quite a lot to tell you about our latest developments. And also I was asked to address issues of credibility and assurance. So obviously what I'm talking about is this national scheme that we have in France on product environmental information. It's a public policy based on a legal basis. For example, the Environmental Framework Law Grenelle 1 introduced the right of the consumer to have environmental information on the products. And the Environmental Law Grenelle 2, which is the more operational law, introduced a legal requirement to have carbon and environmental indicators on consumer products on the basis of the results of a trial phase to start on the 1st of July this year. And I will get back to that later on in my presentation. But the results and the evaluation of this national experimentation will be put in a report transmitted to the Parliament, on which basis decisions will be taken whether to introduce mandatory sectoral measures for the environmental labeling of consumer products. In any case, we do have a legal basis. Here are the some of the main principles underpinning our national system. The environmental information has to take into account product and packaging, a life cycle thinking, and a multi-criteria approach. And the multi-criteria principle is quite important to us. First of all, because we all know that the decision-making or the environmental information can be biased when one focuses on only one impact, and also because we believe that the international political agenda is evolving. The climate protection objectives remain very important to us all, but we saw last year the year of biodiversity with some breakthrough accomplished at the Nagoya conference. Natural resources and resource efficiency are also growing higher and higher on the political agenda, as well as the green economy, which is going to be the main theme of the Rio +20 UN conference. And we are clearly talking about the green economy, not just the low carbon economy. So all these principles make it quite a complete life cycle approach, although on the other hand we are developing simplified LCA tools, and I will come back to that in a minute. This is the list of the sectoral working groups that are currently active preparing some product category rules. They are co-chaired by the Industry Association and ADEME, which is the Environment Protection Agency. And the documents are based on consensus decision. So where do we stand regarding the methodological development? In 2009, we adopted the general principles for our national system, as well as a general calculation methodology, which provides recommendations on key methodological issues such as end-of-life, carbon storage allocations, and so on. This general calculation methodology was revised at the end of last year, and so version 2 was adopted on the 20th of January, with some changes introduced in relation to the end-of-life and retail phases, the storage of biogenic carbon and other aspects. In July 2010, we adopted our first PCR on shoes. And in January this year, we adopted 2 new PCRs, which are on rucksacks and wood furniture. And once again, this reflects the different progress level in the working groups rather than any official product prioritization. Now coming to the secondary database and data issues, ADEM is constructing a public generic database which will be available online. It will be consistent with ISO 14048 and the ILCD format. And currently we are developing partnerships and agreements with existing databases in order to import and adapt their data into our secondary public database. The data feeding should start anytime now, since it's planned to start in spring this year. We have, ADEM has launched a specific 3-year project in order to collect more data on agri-food products. It's called AgriBalise, and it's run by French and Swiss agricultural institutes. If you would like more information on this, my colleague Antonin Vergès, there at the back of the room, will be happy to respond to you in the next days. The Economic and Finance Ministry has developed a tool in order to help SMEs on data issues and footprint calculations. And ADEM has also launched a specific project on ecotoxicity in order to provide indicator data and methodology on ecotoxicity, notably to the detergent and the cosmetic sectors. We already have voluntary initiatives on the market, mainly carbon footprint done by retail initiatives supported by public authorities, not financially supported, but technically supported by ADEM when they started these pilot projects, such as the quite famous Indice Carbone. And we are quite happy that Casino, for example, is going to take advantage of the national experimentation in order to move this Indice Carbone to multi-criteria. And indeed, this is the goal, to go multi-criteria. Here we have some examples of other private led pilot projects, multi-criteria. SFR is a mobile phone operator. They already display environmental information on the products in their shops. I don't know if you can see, there is a climate indicator, resources and water. And Conforama, which is a retailer, has also started. They are anticipating the national experimentation, and they are also taking part in the national experimentation, but they are quite ahead of the other projects. Now the further work in the coming 2 years. Obviously the national experimentation. 2 projects have to start on the 1st of July for a minimum of 1 year. The experimentation covers the quantification and the communication. We launched a call for volunteers at the end of last year, which was quite successful, actually more successful than we expected, since we received 230 applicants from all sectors, of which 168 have been selected, mainly on criteria of product relevance and technical capabilities. There are quite a number of collective projects in the experimentation, about 1/3. All sectors are represented, with quite a number, about 1/3 of the projects concern food and drink products, which is very interesting since we all know that these products are frequently bought by consumers. And we also have all types of companies in the national experimentation, and it's quite well balanced actually, about 1/3 of SMEs, 1/3 of medium enterprises, and 1/3 of big companies. We have some foreign companies taking part in our national experimentation, one from Chile, one from Colombia, and one from Sweden. But we also have many French branches of multinationals taking part, such as Nestlé, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Levi's, H&M. Well, I can't say the whole list. And in the meantime, work is continuing on the development of the methodologies and the tools. We have many draft PCRs in the pipeline on textiles, detergents, shampoos, nappies, TV, mobile phones, ironmongery, bedding, and so on. The database, obviously, I already mentioned. And we are preparing also, that is to say, ADEM with the help of consultants, online calculation tools. The aim, ultimately, when we introduce measures, is to have all these tools which take a simplified LCA approach, because, of course, we are not going to require for every product put on the French market to perform a full LCA, but there will be these tools developed through public support in order to help the implementation for providing the environmental information on products. So our general methodology is, let's say, a simplified LCA tool designed for product comparison with the help of PCRs and the secondary public database. And once an official PCR is adopted, then we start feeding the generic database with the data for this product category, and we start constructing the online calculator. And how this calculator is going to work, the company indicates its product and have to fill in on 3 environmental indicators, including carbon, since carbon is transversal to all product categories. And the calculator is linked to the product category rules and the generic database, and provide the calculation with the primary data that the company will have introduced as well. And this level of primary and secondary data is decided on consensus with the Industrial Federation that co-chairs the sectoral working group. So I'm going to try to speed up a little, but I was asked to also address the issue of assurance and credibility, which is why I'm showing to you the governance system of all the development of the methodologies and tools. We have this general stakeholder platform, which is co-led by ADEM and AFNOR, which is the French standardization body. And it supervises all the activities and the documents. We have a methodological working group for the general methodology, sectoral working groups for the PCRs, a communication working group, a database governance committee, and more than 600 organizations are registered to the platform, with many of them regularly participating to the meetings. And more than 1,000 experts in total are also registered. This is to show that it's a very open and participative process on which our credibility is based. notably. So, for example, when a sector working groups develops a PCR, obviously there is already a lot of discussion going on to develop this PCR on the basis of LCAs and knowledge from the sector, and pilot projects that ADEME supports in order to feed in the activities for the development of PCRs. The PCR is first adopted at the level of the sector working group. Then it goes to the general platform, which performs a sort of critical review, challenges some points, notably in relation to consistency with the general methodology, and ultimately adopts the PCR. So this shows the repartition of the stakeholders in the general platform. So as you see, we also base the credibility of the tools and the methodologies and system on a very open and participative process. The LCAs that are used in order to feed the PCR development have to be consistent with ISO and with our general methodology, the BPX 3323. About the data, how does the database governance committee work? There is a technical committee providing expertise on data quality. Then ADEME also consults stakeholder consultative groups representing industry, public authorities, and NGOs, and makes the final selection of the data. And the environmental impacts, the environmental footprints, also have to comply with the BPX, and you'll understand better with the next slides. So we believe that we have a sort of original critical review system based, as I said, on this very open and participative process for the development of the methodologies and the tools. So we have the same indicators, same methodologies, same secondary data, same calculator, all validated through the working groups and the platform, which means that for this part of the footprint, the checks will be easier to be made in relation to the official methodologies and the official secondary database and official calculator. Now, obviously remains the issue of the primary data, which, as we know, is very important in the results of the environmental footprint. What we are most probably heading towards is an obligation to make primary data and methods of proof available to public authorities in case of checks and random market checks. And actually, this is going to also be tested during the national experimentation. The issue for us is that since we aim towards a general system, it would be unrealistic to impose obligatory third-party verification on all the footprints. It would be too expensive. But we also rely on the transparency of the whole system and on the reputation effects for the credibility of the information that will be provided on the products, and also on the fact that many times, even when it's not obligatory, businesses prefer to have their information verified for credibility and legal certainty. So thank you for your attention, and obviously I remain available for any question either during this conference or after the conference by email or phone.
Thank you very much. Yes.